More than 60 objects we tested. Do they penetrate or not? Will Lapua Magnum AP penetrate the glass in Kiba? Can a container be penetrated? And will ordinary valence protect against almost any shot? And this is only a small part of what we will discuss. Let's begin. Firstly, I will clarify that during the tests the following was noticed. Each individual object consists of different materials, and depending on what kind of object it is, it has a hardness or strength, and I don't know which is better. But the essence is that the higher the penetration of your cartridge, the higher the chance that you will be able to penetrate. Yes, logical, however, this is not all. When you hit any object, there is always a chance that the bullet will not penetrate at all, will penetrate but shift its direction or pass normally. And the higher the armor penetration, the more chances that the cartridge will pass through and everything will be okay. How much damage is cut to PMC is also questionable. If you take hypothetical cardboard box that almost has no strength and density, then naturally it doesn't reduce damage at all. However, if it's some kind of metallic object, then it's pure randomness. It may pass a lot of damage or it might not pass at all. If it's wood or plastic, the damage often passes higher. Well, of course, there are objects that just do not penetrate at all. I took 4 different cartridges. Luger with the penetration of 10, AP 6.3, which is the minimum in the world of armor-piercing cartridges, with the penetration of 30, M80 with the penetration of 40. This is a clear kind of heavy artillery. And if they all fail, Lapua Magnum AP comes into play. I would like to say that everything is very clear and simple. Here's a wooden object, so it penetrates. However, it is not so. There are individual adjustments, and according to this, I took the most popular objects that I came across during PvP. And it was always interesting, can I penetrate or not? So let's start. To structure this whole array, let's go by materials. The first one is wood. Pellets can often be seen, they are penetrated, however Luger and AP 6.3 did not cope, and at minimum MAT was needed. One wooden box. Luger did not cope at all, but AP 6.3, even if not from the first shot, still managed to hit the target. 2 wooden boxes were even harder to penetrate. To penetrate them, I took a lot of shots, and only some cartridges were able to hit the enemy. Carton boxes obviously penetrated even by the worst Luger cartridge. By the way, to penetrate wooden doors, Luger was enough. Shelves on the second floor in the library. Luger and AP 6.3 couldn't handle it. Had to go with the MAT, and only then be able to penetrate. I'll tell you even more. Through 2 shells you can penetrate with MDR. However, naturally there will be misses, but again we hit quite often. A more interesting moment concerns trees. They come in different thicknesses, and of course different ammunition was needed to penetrate them. For example, a thin tree could be penetrated even with the Luger, but for a thicker one even AP 6.3 was not enough, and MAT had to be used. The pile of bullets lying around might make you think it's impossible to penetrate. There are so many of them. However, no, MAT was already enough. The coil was even penetrated by Luger. A much more interesting moment relates to the factory Death Corridors box. We often faced a situation where we couldn't penetrate it or kill an enemy, and indeed, if you shoot at that joint, you won't break through. Nothing comes out. But once you start shooting slightly lower into the box itself, the damage starts to go through normally. To penetrate this joint, you need a minimum of MAT. Another interesting moment is with the cat in lab. It's quite difficult to penetrate. A minimum of MAT is required, and even then it may not work at the first try. We are done with the main wooden objects. Now it's time to subscribe to the channel. A million more videos and breakdowns await you here. There are many metallic objects, and of course there are also tests. Let's start with the metallic barrels. You can often find them in Tarkov. Luger couldn't handle it, and AP 6.3 as well. What about MAT? No, nothing. Well, heavy artillery, Lapua Magnum AP. Whoa, there's penetration! Wonderful! A full metal container, theoretically AP 6.3 could somehow get in there, but most likely it wouldn't cause any damage. However, MDR managed to deal with that. For a large blue container with garbage, M80 was also sufficient. Now an interesting moment. Can you penetrate a truck? I of course tried the pistols, and even more, I tried with the MDR. I attempted to take it, but it served as a good example of how bullets ricochet inside an object. Everything is literally widlet, except for the character. Sooner or later I hit him, but I would not call it a real option to shoot. How about one sheet of metal container? It's not two, but one, which means it's easier. Well, I wouldn't say it's guaranteed, but you can penetrate it with the logger. Big fuel barrels. AP 6.3 with some minimal probability, of course, you can hit it, but in fact it's almost impossible. MDI is already handled his issue better, but again, not guaranteed. Okay, there are many items, so let's speed up. This metal shovel penetrates with the AP 6.3. Even a logger is enough to break through a temporary building. A blue metal fence is barely penetrated by AP 6.3. M80 is a bit better. Even Lapua Magnum AP couldn't penetrate a minibus. With the bus, it's the same story. And now attention, a metal ladder is penetrated even by logger, and it practically passes full damage. But the railings are impenetrable. Even Lapua Magnum can only cause damage with the ricochet. A metal door won't protect you even from a logger. But what's in the reserve basement, on the contrary, is fully impenetrable. Only Lapua Magnum AP managed to penetrate, but it didn't cause full damage. The magazine stand near the dorm is almost impenetrable. Only Lapua Magnum AP could somehow inflict damage, and not on the first attempt. The story is the same with wagons. It is generally impossible to break through the electrical panel, and customs offices seems to be made of the same material at the store near the dorms. The metal gates at the factory are pierced by logger, and the ventilation pipe will not protect even from AP 6.3. To break through the card there, you need to use again Lapua Magnum AP, but the tractor doesn't get through at all. Attention, Kiba! The glass cannot be broken in any way. However, what about the doors? And here they are, exactly the same. Metal plates penetrated M80. Two worthless coffee machines in the laboratory impenetrable. The cafeteria sink is penetrated by AP 6.3. You can often see PMCs near this metal leg at customs, and hear the news. It is impenetrable. If you suddenly see large metal pipes, then you know they will protect you from anything. AP doesn't penetrate them either. This is a hefty metal door at a construction site. Logger breaks through, however, with a small degree of probability. It's impossible to penetrate a massive trash container. Let's start with the metallic objects. The next point is a concrete. I'll tell you right away, most of them are impenetrable. A concrete pillar, concrete fence, concrete wing, line beam, brickwork, sandbags. Well, these sandbags with some rubbish were penetrated, however, not on the first try. Let's talk about individual objects. Any lootable boxes do not reduce damage and are penetrated accordingly with the logger. Glass in the black room can be shot through, just like in the green room, and of course in the administrator's room. And all this with the logger. The same goes for Amacom on interchange. To penetrate a fence in the cafeteria, MIT is enough. The tires may not be guaranteed, but logger handles them. To penetrate a pile of garbage, AP 6.3 is enough. In case of a sofa, it's the same. The water box is penetrated by logger. We are done checking the most popular objects. There is too much in the game, so checking everything is an impossible task. Write in the comments what was a surprise for you, or maybe you knew everything. Subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Good luck!